Rico Verhoeven just went off on HESDY GERGES about this. Hello kickboxing lovers, welcome back to the new episode on our channel where we discuss every happening related to kickboxing, no matter if it happens inside the ring or outside. I'm your host, and today I've brought you a very controversial and sensitive topic to discuss. I think you've heard that at the beginning of this year, Rico Verhoeven got furious and went off on HESDY GERGES all of a sudden. But why? That's what I'm going to talk about in the next couple of minutes. If you are an avid watcher of kickboxing and also a follower of this channel, you are quite familiar with the king of kickboxing, Rico Verhoeven. He was born and brought up in the Netherlands. Since his childhood, his father, who was also a black belt in karate, started his training in martial arts, followed by a strict discipline. When Verhoeven was just 7 years old, his interest shifted more to kickboxing and he started practicing various patterns and technicalities of attack and defense. He was by birth an overweight player due to his enormous physicality even when he was a teenager. At 16, he used to fight adult kickboxers who were much older than him. In kickboxing, his longtime trainer was Dennis Crowell. It's amazing to know that popular kickboxers like Benjamin Adegbue, Alviar Limar, or Albert Cross are some fellow trainees of the Verhoeven underclass of Crowell. With a height of 6.5 feet, Verhoeven is quite tall, which gives him an advantage over other players. Apart from that, another power that Verhoeven developed over the years of practice is impactful lower kicks. He's often considered as one of the most tactical and strategic players with invincible defense. In his career so far, there are several achievements he accomplished and championships he won. He professionally debuted in kickboxing in the year 2012 after 2 years in 2014. He was given the title, the King of Kickboxing, and to this date, he's wearing the entitlement like a crown. Since 2014, he's been holding the #1 position in the global kickboxers ranking in the overweight male category. But do you know much about HESDY GERGES, who almost got the Verhoeven's nerves pulled just at the beginning of this? GERGES became Verhoeven's future opponent. You might know HESDY GERGES for cocaine smuggling cases or doping, etc. In 2017, the Dutch-Egyptian boxer was convicted and put behind the bars for smuggling of drugs in Belgium. Almost 128 kgs of cocaine was collected from them. Not only that, he has never been an A-listed player in the Glory kickboxing roster. According to his performance in the ring, he is not what we call a good player. So far, he played matches on behalf of his kickboxing federation 10 times, and amongst them, only 3 times he managed to win. So you see, you cannot call him your favorite player. The last time GERGES fought was in 2018, and it was a match against the veteran kickboxer Badr Hari. HESDY GERGES lost in that one too. To make the matter worse, both of them were caught red-handed for doping. Badr Hari got suspended by the federation then, and then GERGES was given a strict warning from the top-level officials. You can say that the incident almost indicated an ending of a career. If you look at his career graph, you'll also see that it's not satisfying. If you ask me, I would say that he has reached his peak in 2010. That time, he eventually became the champion of the heavyweight tournament. And why did I say eventually? Because it was not he fought and won. The final match was between Badr Hari and him again. Hari desperately knocked GERGES down and brutally kicked him. The kind of thing is completely out of the rulebook of kickboxing. Naturally, Hari got disqualified from the match, and eventually GERGES became the champion. Though it's not only just Badr Hari, I would say that kickboxing universe is aware of the fact that HESDY GERGES has an infamous capability of gaslighting his opponent. In 2014, Jamal Ben Sadiq also did the same thing to GERGES just like Hari and consequently got disqualified. Now at the beginning of the year, he got another controversy added to his name, which is he got into a fist fight with none other than Rico Verhoeven at the Gelredome press conference in the Netherlands. In the press conference, Rico Verhoeven got so agitated and furious with HESDY GERGES that he called GERGES a pancake. This sounds weird, I know. You might be thinking, how did the argument originate between them in the press conference? Well, in the press conference, Verhoeven was asked to share his opinion about the match fought between Badr Hari and HESDY GERGES. It was a match that both players were found guilty of doping in. At this, Verhoeven called it a shit fight, and honestly he said that he thought both players looked unfit to fight in the ring and they barely could make it up to the end. You see, Verhoeven's undetermined both that players at once. HESDY GERGES did not like that Verhoeven stated it at all. Anyway, there was a match afterwards for which GERGES was scheduled. The match was supposed to be between Jamal Ben Sadiq and Rico Verhoeven. But unfortunately by that time, Jamal Sadiq suffered from an ankle injury that did not let him get into the match. For replacement, HESDY GERGES was scheduled to fight against Verhoeven. You can guess who would win here. Yep, it was Verhoeven. Later in the press conference, Gerges dropped by amidst several VIP guests and sports journalists where Verhoeven was discussing their match and gameplay. As I said previously, Gerges is unmatched in gaslighting people. In the press conference too, he shouted at the top of his voice and said he was just better. You see, it was a straightforward mockery towards the king of kickboxing, Verhoeven. Upon hearing this, naturally, Verhoeven went off on Gerges and challenged him to put on gloves and threatened to hit him through the entire ring. Not only that, but he also mocked Gerges, calling a dirty pancake, and said that as a boxer, Gerges was just no match for him. It's very sensitive as an issue, and it has already created a lot of sensation among fans across the globe. This is probably the first match in the history of kickboxing where players are fighting outside the ring like this. Moreover, it's a stupid fight insinuated by gaslighting. To make the situation worse, HESDY GERGES also spread his hatred about none other than Rico Verhoeven. He said that Rico pretended like he had invented the sport's kickboxing and he always had everything under his control. He also implied that the match between him and Verhoeven on 30th January 2021 won't be just a match of kickboxing, it would be a war. It was a huge statement made by Gerges. The controversy was building up constantly between the two glory fighters. The fans all over the world went gaga over the incident. In the response to Gerges' statement, Verhoeven also said that he was not even bothered about his entitlement. Though not everyone can be allowed to fight the #1 player like him. He was satisfied even with the match schedule because people wanted to watch this inevitable fight with Gerges where Verhoeven would shut his mouth publicly. But having said this, there was also a little glitch in the matrix. The glitch was the sudden preparation of the match roster. Players always train themselves for months to fight a particular player. Analyzing the moves and techniques of their opponents, it needs time. But before the match, Gerges just had 10 days to train himself, and as I said earlier, he had never been a great player who can fight a tough guy against the king of kickboxing. So of course it was a problem. But in this scenario, Rico just stated that this decision of fighting a match with him was the most generous of himself. He had respect for Gerges as a fighter, but not as a person. Verhoeven clearly said that, "I think he's a loser." Do you think the press conference ended there? Sadly, no. There was more. HESDY GERGES intentionally repeated the same words he said in the Gelderdome conference earlier, which was, "Hey Rico, fuck you." As you can see, the heart was coiling up rapidly. It was just a matter of time to explore each other. On the scheduled day, the fight happened, and as usual, it was Rico Verhoeven who won the match. But after all, I wonder what's the point of the gaslighting and all these controversies. Do you have any thoughts on this? If yes, I'd like to know for sure. Please let me know in the comments section of this video. Subscribe to the channel and keep following us for more wonderful videos. And I'll be back shortly with another amazing episode. Until then, adios.